Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game you guys requested also from round 6 of this year's FIDE Grand Swiss. It is Samuel Sevian versus Javokhir Sindarov and it's a really wild game, but it's also a very short one, only 23 moves and so far both Samuel and Javokhir are undefeated in the tournament. Now it's very hard to pinpoint the exact point of no return in this game for the losing player, but we will do it nevertheless. So let's check it out. Samuel has the white pieces and he opens with c4. He goes for the English opening. We have g6, the so-called great snake variation, e4, and now pawn to e5. We have knight to f3, bishop to g7, and pawn to d4. Striking in the center, we have e captures on d4, knight captures, and now knight to f6. We have knight to c3, and here Javokhir castles. We have bishop to e3 and pawn to c6. Now preparing to strike in the center with pawn to d5. There are some games where bishop to e2 was played, but here we have queen to d2, and it is now, as of move 8, that we have a completely new game. So, okay, Javokhir continues developing, putting pressure on that e4 pawn, so just pawn to f3, defending it, and now pawn to d5. Of course, you want to open up the center as your opponent's king is still occupying the e1 square. E captures on d5, c captures on d5, and now white doesn't develop the bishop and castle kingside. White actually castles queenside. So what happens now? Knight to c6. We have knight captures on c6, b captures, and now bishop to d4. Here you might consider some other moves, but this is a very, very strong piece. Of course, you are expecting Javokhir to put the rook on b8, maybe the queen comes to b6, not at the moment when the bishop moves, and you will have a lot of pressure on this diagonal and on the b file, so definitely it makes sense to counter Javokhir's strong dark square bishop on g7, and now we have rook to b8. Here this is sort of the point of no return, but we're gonna get to this position after we check out the entire game. So here c captures on d5 was played, grabbing a pawn, but now not c captures on d5, but rather pawn to c5. And how do you play this? Well, there are or you have to move the bishop somewhere, or you capture the pawn on c5. But let's say you capture on f6, then you get queen captures on f6, and after bishop to c4, you will play bishop to f5, close off this diagonal so the king cannot escape to b1 and a1. And now let's say we play pawn to g4, bishop goes back to d7. Okay, the game continues with black having a lot of pressure on the b file and on this diagonal, but that's something that we already mentioned, and you can't really prevent this. So that's one way to play it. In the game, Samuel decided to capture on c5. He played bishop captures on c5, and now it's even more dangerous. Queen to a5 now puts pressure on the bishop. Bishop to d6 now attacks the rook, and now comes bishop to f5. Here objectively best is just to move the rook, and black is completely winning, but Javokhir played bishop to f5, and now you actually have a chance to fight, but it's very, very hard to calculate. In the game, pawn to g4 was played, and this simply will not do. What you have to do is capture the rook on b8, and I'm just going to show it because it's a lot of fun. And after rook captures, you're going to play bishop to c4 to not just to defend the pawn, but also to be able to play bishop to b3 and bishop back to c2. So if queen b4, you just block bishop to b3, and now if rook to c8, you just block the rook again with bishop to c2. And now if knight captures on d5, you can go for queen captures on d5, bishop captures on c3, b captures on c3, and queen captures on c3. And yes, it looks like you're getting destroyed here, but you actually get to survive. Queen to b3, and now black has nothing better than to trade. Queen captures, rook captures, threatening some windmill action here, but you will only get pick up 2 pawns, nothing more. King to a1, and now you're gonna go after the a2 pawn as well. That doesn't matter if white pushes it forward, doesn't push it forward. If you push it, then just rook to a2 with check, and after the king moves, rook captures on a4. And here you would have this position where it's 2 rooks and 2 pawns versus a rook, bishop, and 4 pawns. All in all, should be a draw. But of course, you have a lot to calculate there. Instead of after bishop to f5, g4 was played, sort of the idea is the same. Only once the bishop moves, you're going to play bishop captures on b8, but that's just the thing. Javokhir does not move the bishop. He plays rook beat to c8, and now you really have nothing better than to capture the bishop on f5. So g captures on f5. Now comes knight captures on d5, and f captures on g6. Look at all this pressure on c3. Absolutely incredible stuff here. Sorry about that arrow. H captures on g6, and now finally you start capturing. Knight captures on c3, bishop to h3 going after the rook here, and knight captures on c3. We have bishop captures on c8, rook captures on c8, and now queen to d3. We have queen captures on a2, and now bishop to c7. One last trick, if black captures the bishop, then you can play queen to d8 check, even though even with this, black would still be winning. So here knight captures on d1 was played, and he was in this position on move 23 that Samuel Sevian resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. You're down a piece, you're going to be down more material soon, and if you play queen captures on d1, then queen captures on b2 is checkmate, so that doesn't work. If you capture back with the king, just one check picks up the rook on h1, so that doesn't work. You are out of moves, and well, here of course that's why he resigned. So beautifully played by Javokhir, but I just wanted to go back to that position where rook to b8 was played, where I said we've reached the point of no return, where c captures on d5 was played. The only way to continue here is to not play that, is to play bishop to d3, and now, okay, black still gets to play c5, but now after bishop captures and d captures on c4, you just play bishop captures on c4, and now it's fine. If black trades queens, okay, you're not gonna get checkmated, you can play this, and if black keeps the queens in the game with something like queen to c7, then you get bishop to d6, and now it's much different. Queen captures on c4, now you eliminate the rook from the b file, and okay, it's still gonna be you know, a nice game. Let's say bishop to f5, bishop to d6, but you are in the game. There's no way for black to force anything here, and it can still be played. But yeah, only move 13, and already here the critical mistakes. C captures on d5, you know, incredible stuff, but what are you gonna do? It's a sharp opening. This great snake variation, the Adorjan defense, and well, just 23 moves, very nicely done. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for recommending such a wonderful miniature. Really hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank the Brooders on Spotify, Stephen McCann, Chess Beats League, Romain Manini, and Sam's Giant Tortoise Farm for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day. In today's round, Fabiano Caruana will be facing Radoslav Wojtaszek on board 1, so we'll see what happens. See you soon.